back on Cowboy Logic. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about a story that makes wokeness go to totally ridiculous areas. I mean, this is just getting to the point
Go woke,
of being stupid.
go broke.
Well, hopefully that will be the case as well. We're talking about the Stocky family. Dad is James, mom is Ginger, Max is the boy wonder, and his sister Avi. And we're going to be talking to both James and Max about this. And what they did was they started their own company that makes flags. And Max's mom was an artist. Dad was a wood maker. So they kind of put their talents together. One thing led to the other. And Max started on TV at the ripe old age of 6. So, Ron, let's bring them in right now. Max, you're really old now. You're 11. But welcome to Cowboy Logic, Max and James.
He's a seasoned professional. And let me interject something here. The sign of a great leader is being able to surround himself with great people. Now, Max, at the age of 6, I think you figured out how to be a great leader because you surrounded yourself with these skilled craftsmen and artists that are taking care of all the hard work so that you can get out there and market this with you and your cowboy hat on.
And it just happened to be your family, but that works really well, too. So you guys started out in California, and give us a little bit of background about how you got started.
So our company started when I was about 6 years old, and I noticed that my parents were both artists. He was with wood, my mom was with art and paint. So I just put it together in my mind that they should try and work together and make wooden American flags. Because my whole life, whenever I saw the American flag, I just saluted it because I respected America and I always loved it, and I just really wanted my parents to combine their talents.
And we need more kids like that, James. You're doing a good job there. An awesome job raising your family here. So
there is hope, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. There's
hope.
Hope.
Totally gives us hope. Okay, so the business took off. You guys started out in California. In fact, at age 6, Max was on TV, and it just took off. Tell us what happened, though, after that, and you moved to Tennessee.
So after the TV, the big tech company pretty much all canceled us, including PayPal, Shopify, and Facebook. They all canceled us. PayPal just held a lot of our money. Shopify took off some of our best-selling items, and Facebook completely stopped our advertising. And that really hurt us. We never really were able to get any sales during that time.
That was right in the middle of COVID. So we started off the business as a face-to-face business where we'd set up a booth at rodeos and music festivals and that kind of thing. So we got a really good understanding of who our customers were and made a lot of friends doing it too. So COVID comes around, and after COVID hit, that business model was obviously destroyed because we couldn't do anything face to face. So we invented ourselves as an online service, created a website, and we used Shopify to do it. And the business actually grew during COVID. Shortly after COVID, probably about 6 months into COVID, we had saved up enough money to actually move out of California, or defect as I like to call it. And we bought our first home in Tennessee. 4 months after we got to Tennessee, our business is doing better than ever. We're still growing. We're thriving. Everything. We are literally living the American dream. And 4 months after we got here, that's when our sales just abruptly stopped. Like overnight, they just were gone. So we started looking into why that was. We didn't get any notification from Facebook, nothing to indicate that they had canceled us, or I think that the term that they used was suspended our marketing privileges for not abiding by their community standards, I believe. And when that happened, we quickly figured out that we had been canceled. There was nothing. Obviously, when you go to Facebook, you can't call someone, you can't reason with them. There's no customer service to actually communicate with to figure out how you can change or what you can do. come to find out, what we were canceled for was we had made a custom flag for a customer who asked us to paint a full
I know
color
what's
portrait
coming. It had to be
of.
Trump's fault.
Yeah, there you go. We put Trump on a flag, and that's what did us in. So, you know, that's all it took. Shopify removed about 15 of our best-selling flags. Facebook suspended our privileges, as they put it, to advertise, and we were in real bad shape. We were in real bad shape. We almost lost everything.
Hey, come on. We're in a post-constitutional America. You
Yeah.
know you can't do anything to celebrate an American president or patriotism or the American flag or how about our military? You just can't do that in
Yeah.
a post-constitutional America.
It's always Trump's fault. Everything is Trump's
Max,
fault.
let me ask you this. I'm assuming that, and I could be wrong on this, you may be a homeschooled individual there, but are you going to school right now?
Yes,
Okay.
I am going.
What do your fellow classmates think about your entrepreneurial skills and your business model and your company and your products that you're selling?
Well, some of them don't even know about it, of course, because I don't really tell
They
people
will
about
now. They will now. But go ahead.
And some of them are like trying to get me to give them free flags, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
They'll all be your best friend when they want free stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's amazing how the friends come out of the woodwork and want freebies.
All right, so we're talking a lot of money here, though, aren't we, James? I mean, you said like close to $100,000 was frozen almost immediately. I didn't even think that was legal.
It actually, at the first time we realized it was 86,000 that was frozen. When we started to call PayPal to find out what was going on, we were still receiving sales, and it creeped up to, I think, 112,000 was the highest. Then we made national news. That's when Harmeet Dillon stepped in and started negotiating with PayPal. But it took, I mean, if Harmeet's a pretty powerful attorney, and she brings the Center for American Liberty with her, and it took her about 3 or 4 weeks to get them to release. I think it was about $20,000 was the first part, but that didn't even cover the cost of doing the current workload that we had, the amount of flags that we had. That didn't even cover the cost. That, I mean, it was almost, I think, about $15,000 in shipping fees. So we needed $5,000 to $7,000 worth of wood. When you add up all the costs involved, what they were giving us was not even enough to really start doing the work properly. We had to do everything in ones and twos. When you have 350 flags, what you'd like to do is order all the wood at one time, cut all the wood at one time, paint all at one time, drill it all, assemble it all, and then you get everything, you push everything at the same time. The way that they required us to do it, and by require I mean forced, they made us check up with them through our lawyer, and they had to approve us to have more money as we went by. So the whole process ended up taking 11 months for us to get all the money back. And at the 11th hour, what they did was they had our last $10,000, and we had about 100, roughly 100 flags that we were ready. They were in boxes, ready to go. Our customers were getting very impatient. They were extremely patient given the circumstances. And but they wanted their flag. They wanted to put that in their home, as they were proud patriots. So Harmeet, the last communication was that they wanted us to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and if we didn't sign the non-disclosure agreement, we were not going to get the last $10,000 back.
I just still don't get this. I mean, and you wonder
How
about,
is this legal?
Yeah, you wonder about your own bank accounts. What happened to FDIC insured and all this other stuff. And we saw that happened in Canada when all the truckers had their money basically stolen. Gifts and goes a lot of times we're seeing being attacked more or less by the federal government, with some of the Jan Sixers that are trying to get some money for legal fees and things of that nature. It's obviously political. And that's what's really scary. So when we come back after the break, I want to get into this. And it was great that Harmeet Dillon did help and was able to get your money out. But you had other expenses too. I mean, you just bought a house. And this is craziness. And they try. It really is the situation where they're going after people who are merely just trying to earn a living and pay their taxes and be left alone. And it's freedom, which we thought this country was part of, and it's starting to be seriously threatened.
There's nothing right about this, ladies and gentlemen. And if this is not a good reason for you to absolutely right now on the commercial break cancel your PayPal account, I don't know what is. Hey, you're watching Cowboy Logic. We're going to be right back.
Cowboy Logic with Max and James Stocky. They are a family affair when it comes to making beautiful flags on wood. Mom does the artwork, Dad does a lot of the wood, and the whole family it's really an American dream. This enabled them to buy a house, which is the American dream. And we want to thank our RAV cameraman and producer and documentary filmmaker, Don Thompson, for introducing us to you guys, because he was just out there. He got pictures of all the stuff that you did. And giving us
the great B-roll.
Yes, so all the pictures you see, Don Thompson did it. And folks at RAV know that Don did the documentary also, How to Boil a Frog. Great documentary filmmaker, that Don Thompson is. And again, guys, you were canceled pretty much by big tech and everything else. Money, tens of thousands withheld for quite some time, to the point where they almost bankrupted you because you decided to fulfill an order for a flag that had Donald Trump on it. Boy, that just gets put up like a red flag, no pun intended. So again, tell us where you guys...
How is this even legal?
Yeah,
this is such BS, ladies and gentlemen. It's sickening.
It is. So now that you guys are back on your feet, thank God, with the help of Harmeet Dillon, and you guys were able to get on a couple other networks, which we won't mention, to kind of highlight all this. How long ago was that, and how are things going now?
It was about 2 years ago, would you say?
Oh, so it was a while ago. Okay, good.
And ever since then, we have gotten back to normal pretty much. But still, it did put us back a while.
By normal means that we're selling flags about at the same rate as we were before. Not quite, but we're not allowed to do it the way that we had ever been able to do it. We've had to reinvent ourselves third time in 5 years as a company to stay afloat, which is, I think that probably the biggest part that I want to highlight is that when big tech cancels a business, particularly a small family business, they're canceling the family, their dream. The stress that it causes on the parents is unbelievable. Then it trickles down into the kids. They take that to school. I mean, it's something that I can't even begin to really describe the amount of stress that was in our house for months, for a good 6 to 9 months before Harmeet really got everything under control. But still, again, after PayPal canceled us, the next company that we used to process credit cards was Square. Square then canceled us about 6 months later, and they still have thousands of dollars of our money. They refuse to give it back. So it's ongoing. It never stops. These companies are relentless in their efforts to cancel anything that's patriotic.
Yeah.
So we've actually we had literally hundreds of customers when they would call in. I would tell them about all the small nuances of the story, and they were just blown away. They had no idea how bad it really was. And every single one, we're talking well over 100, said, "You guys need a documentary." So we actually started creating a documentary, and we're in the middle of shooting all the pre-production right now. And in the next, I think in March, we go to post-production, and that's where we're really going to expose big tech and all the dirty tactics that they use to destroy businesses.
All right, so who are you using now for your receivables, for your payment module off your website? Who are you using now?
We use Second Amendment processing, and they
Boom.
are awesome.
That sounds like they're going to be taking care of business for you.
Sounds like patriots to me.
Yeah. I've got a very important question for Max here, and I am asking this, Max, on behalf of all the single young women out there, and that is, are you taken? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have anybody that's a significant other? Or are you available?
No.
Okay.
No, you're not available?
That's a very ambiguous answer there, Max. No, does that mean you're not available, or no, you don't have a girlfriend right now?
I am, but I'm not.
He's available, but does not have a girlfriend.
Hey, I think he needs to be a lawyer.
He is available. Ladies and gentlemen, this is important here. We got to get this in before the end of the show. Because, Max, I'm telling you, the number of viewers that watch this show are ridiculous, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, he's available.
He's available. And I think he has another a future as a lawyer as well, because you notice how he's kind of not answering the question. So that's very cool. Tell us about this.
He was super vague on that, don't you think?
No, it's just you guys are such an inspiration. You really are. Max, are you learning in school? Are you learning American history in school? You're going to public school, I assume?
Yes, I am going to public school, and I am learning history and things like what you said.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen if you stayed in California, quite honestly. I don't think they're teaching.
Well, they would have
real
taught
American
you some
history.
new history.
Yeah, you'd be woke, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
New, but not like the stuff that's happening a while ago. Like, they would not be teaching me probably about the Declaration of Independence in 5th grade out there, probably.
No, probably not.
No.
James, does this, I mean, as far as the extent of the impact on your family and with young kids, I can't imagine what you guys really had to go through then. How many years has this been going on?
It's been going on for 2 years. And just to give you an idea of how traumatic it basically was, before this all happened, I saw my wife cry 4 times. Twice when our kids were born, and twice when her grandparents passed, or her 2 grandmothers passed away. After this happened, about a month into it, when we really found out the extent of it, one night when I went to bed, I didn't have an answer for her. And, you know, you always want to be able to comfort your wife. And I didn't have an answer. And I went to bed listening to her weep to sleep. And when that happened, that's when that fire in me was, I had had enough, and it was time to fight. And that's when I just started reaching out to every single news person that I could think of. Here's an interesting point too that I don't normally bring up, but I think it might be important, is that I have an aunt who is a 5-time Emmy Award-winning director for CBS. She worked on Face and Nation for 25 years. She was the first person I called to see if we could get this on the news. And not only did she say no, but she absolutely denied and said that she couldn't do it because her reputation among her former colleagues would be ruined or in jeopardy. So that just shows you the culture inside of those left-sided news organizations, where their employees can't even bring, and not just an employee, and an Emmy Award-winning employee can't even mention that their son or that their nephew was a Trump. She didn't have to mention that I was a Trump supporter, just that I was canceled for making a Trump flag, which doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a Trump supporter. I would make a flag for, I mean, if someone called us today and asked me to make one for Biden, it wouldn't be my favorite flag we've ever made, but I would absolutely do it. You know, I mean, freedom looks different for everybody. So if I want to live my freedom the way that I want to live it, that means I got to let the next guy live it the way that they want to live it. And we all have to respect each other. And unfortunately, the other side just does not see it that way at all.
Yeah,
they don't see it that way at all.
All right, Max and James, we appreciate you being on. Max, you and I talked on the break, and we've got a mutual fondness and love for our political prisoners, our J6 political prisoners. And we were talking about the fact that they sing the national anthem every night at 9 o'clock. And we're going to close our show out with them singing the national anthem tonight, just like we do almost every show. But I think it would be cool, Max, if you would kind of set it up and take this thing out. I'm going to take my hat off, so you got to take your hat off. Not all leave hers on because she's got lady hair.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our hat off. Max, take us out for the show and let everybody know these J6ers are singing this national anthem just for them.
Let's hear the J6ers sing the national anthem.
Let's hear the J6ers singing the national anthem.
There
God
you go,
bless 'em.
brother. J6ers singing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Cowboy Logic. We'll see you next week.